First thing first, I really appreciate the fact that your parents are here. Next time, I think I should bring mine because one of the biggest challenges, working in innovation and startups is your parents think you don't have a job.
You don't have a real job.
You don't have a real job. You know, back then when I was starting this entrepreneurship innovation, trying to explain all these seemingly complex issues to my father, I was like, I understand, son, you're doing a good job, but wait, life has to happen. When are you gonna get a job? Like, this is a job. No. What about the real job? So I think I should bring my parents next time so they can see that I have a job. You did a good job.
Yeah.
So one quick thing I share personally with Jumanne is we were all born in Kariakoo, in a market. You know, I know for a lot of you, when you were maybe late or 3 years old, you start, you know, kujitambua. You go out of your home and you see some few neighbors, 3 around. To me, when I was 3 years old, I go out of my house, I see 10,000 people. That explains why I've ended up in innovation, because you need to take risk every day. You need to, you know, have a courage to go. For me, when I was 4 years old, going to kindergarten, a journey of 0.5 kilometer, but I passed by 5,000 people, conmen, everybody trying to steal my bag, all that. So it's always interesting working with Jumanne because I think he understands where we are coming from. Capturing from what has been spoken this morning, it has been a very fruitful conversation, and I really appreciate all the speakers. I want to say something little about Firas. I can listen to this guy all day. He knows his stuff, right? So at some point when we wanted to host a meeting with the Ministry of ICT, back then, Honorable Ndugulile, shout out to him. He has been very helpful before he was removed. When we wanted to host a meeting, TSA, as you know, is a membership-based organization, right? So we had to ask our members, what do they want as a TSA to present to the minister, that these are our pinpoints, what should be addressed, etc., etc. So we were sending out forms for people to fill in their opinions and what are their problems, what do they think should be a solution. Most startups were sending 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines. This is the problem, this is a solution, this is a problem, this is a solution. Then, and my team, and I was talking to my team, I was telling like, hey guys, you remember that guy from Azampay? I see him on LinkedIn now often. I think he has very good points. Send him the link and so we can hear his opinion. And the guy was like, sir, all these startups are sending 1 line, 2 lines. And that guy, I assume he runs a very big company, must be very busy. I wonder if we will even get a reply. So just send it. They sent. This guy did not even take 24 hours to get back to us with 2 pages, like long list, this, and they all made a lot of sense. So I really appreciate your insights, but also for taking time to contribute to the ecosystem. Thank you so much. So capturing what have been spoken today, there are a lot of issues, mind-boggling, I must say. But to add my few cents, I think we all talk about jobs here. Jumanne highlighted that how many youth are coming to workforce. And something I was just reading last week, and I came about very interesting facts. Now, I'm a person who also loves numbers somehow. According to US Bureau of Labor, they say the shortage on software engineers, tech people, you understand this, is almost close to 40 million people globally.
Wow.
40 million people, there's a shortage. One of the things we complain a lot is we train a lot of accountants, a lot of marketers, there's not enough jobs for them. Then here we have a field where actually there's a shortage. We just have to fill it. But nobody wants to go out and fill that because that's To me, that's the biggest opportunity. So there's a shortage of 40 million people of these gigs needed somewhere. That's globally. You look at a country like Nordic, they're one of the biggest and shortest, their gap is a bit bigger. Sweden alone has a shortage of 70,000 engineers. You go to US, they say the shortages are around 1.4 million a year, and the colleges in US churn out at least 400 annually, and there's a gap of 1 million. But,
yeah, so there's something really interesting. There's something really interesting about that. So the so-called the kings, I don't know if you have heard about the kings. So Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, and Egypt, the king of the tech and innovation in Africa, they have only, among the things they have in common, one of them is the number of engineers. So Lagos alone has 120K engineers. That's the amount of techies they have in Lagos, enough to develop a solution or application for you. Cape Town, I think 80K, and Nairobi is around 60K. I don't know if we've done a survey for Dar es Salaam, how many technical engineers we have to support our local startups.
Okay, that will be our next research for TSA. So a lot of insights which have been shared today have been that helpful. So you see that they actual demand to develop this skill set in the country, and the jobs are just out there. Since COVID, I've been going a lot to Zanzibar, and every time I'm going there, I just meet some people from US, some people from Europe who live in Zanzibar right now and work back home. So they just log in online and work and still get their pay and live here. So it's an opportunity for our youth, opportunity for government to train massive army of technical engineers who actually can get job anywhere. And that's how the future reemerge. You don't have to work here in Dar es Salaam or to be employed with a company which is here or in Arusha to actually have a job. You can be here and still working for multinational somewhere in Silicon Valley. That's what is so exciting about the future.
Wow, thank you so much, Zaoro. So this has been so good, and that's why I called him on stage. He's a political technologist. He does more politics than me. Yeah, so I'm very happy about what you've been saying, and guys, we are really running out of time. I will give 2 chances to comment, one from a lady and the other one from a gent, just to wrap up the day based on the reflection of the day. So I'll start with the chairman of TSA, and then I'll finish with my lovely sister from Digital Opportunity Trust.
Thank you very much. We in TSA believe in being a gentleman. So may I request the lady to start first, and then I will continue.
You know, an empowered lady would decline. But thank you so much, because it actually is about gender. So what are the odds? So I'm Dana Nisima, and I'm from Digital Opportunity Trust, DOT. And the future, it's sort of like making a wish. If there's any future to be reimagined, I would wish it to be gender sensitive. Because men and women are going to experience this future differently. There's already existent entrenched barriers, systemic barriers that are not equipping men and women the same way to take this future. Now, Jumanne, you are a dad to beautiful daughter, Alia. So I'm hoping that the future is one that Alia also steps up as the CEO of a tech company and gives a speech, right? But she also co-creates, and you know, all these things that we're speaking about, AI and all that. We're in a conference last week, but we see how much has been designed without a gender lens, you know, such as whether it's the belts, that the car seat, or everything, and how it's designed with this, without this lens, and comes to affect us and our communities. It's one of the things that whoever is co-creating or investing in the space, we need to be intentional about this. Otherwise, it's going to still leave people behind. Annette made beautiful comments around when we're even speaking about all these latest technologies, we need not to forget that there are those who are yet to be connected. Wanatumia vitochi, right? So the same way I would say that let's not leave people behind, also let's not leave our gender hats off. Let's be inclusive.
Jumanne called me last week or a couple of weeks ago asking me to be on the panel today. And I said, Jumanne, please excuse me. I don't think I deserve to be on the panel amongst all the other panelists today. And everybody who spoke today actually proved me right. Okay, so I want to congratulate all of them. Very exciting. I learned a lot. But I want just to pick on 4 points which caught my attention. The first one, technology is all about innovation, imagining the impossible and making it possible. And I think what we miss in this audience today are children, because when I listen to everybody speak today, we seem to be constrained by our education, our experiences, and so on. So we are not really flowing like children who ask stupid questions, but when you think about it, you may be amazed at the possibilities. Okay, it stretches the imagination. So that's point number 1, and I don't know how. The point I want to make is, free-flowing, starting from a blank piece of paper, really imagining the impossible, and then, as somebody said, working backwards to actually achieve what may have seemed impossible. Now, the other point I wanted to talk about, somebody talked about silos, competition, and so on. And I think what we need to begin to think about now is we can no longer compete for the same pie. I think we need to collaborate to grow the pie so we can share a bigger pie. We talked about the role of enterprises, and I see when I look at a lot of the big companies, forget about the smaller ones, you see a lot of IT managers or directors or chief IT officer. And I think for enterprises now, it's about time we moved, we thought about the role of a chief innovation officer. We need more chief innovation officers in our companies. And the last point I wanted to talk about is, you see, I find it, for lack of a better word, I don't know if if we're missing something in our national strategy regarding how we can actually drive rapid economic development using technology and so on. So, for example, I look at, Firas made a very good point. He talked about 2 issues about transparency and efficiency, yeah? And that, would actually drive down transaction costs and make things much cheaper. Now, you can imagine a company like, one of the big pain points we have as consumers, to do all these transactions we need to use data and so on. It costs money, and it's a pain point for most of us. And I was wondering, for example, if you've reduced, your transparent, you're efficient, transaction costs are down, how then do we actually share those efficiencies with consumers in order to reduce the cost of our data? So, for example, if you have a marketplace, why wouldn't Vodacom, for example, enter into some collaboration, a different business model with the marketplace owners, so that the pricing is actually factored into on that end? They wipe out all the data prices, and everything looks free. That would actually drive demand. And that would have implications, multiplier effects to the rest of the economy, production, consumption, and so on. Those are the points I wanted to make. Thank you very much, Jumanne, for the opportunity.
It has been an honor to host all of you guys here. There's an activity happening. You can go to menti.com and enter that code, and then you can provide your feedback, your comment, because we can't get all the comments, but technology has a way to make sure we gather all these things. So we have a repertoire who has been capturing everything that you guys have been saying, and we are going to produce a report called Future Reimagined, based on your comment and your feedback and some other studies and research out there, thanks to our partner, Tudaco, Tumaini University. Speaking about collaborations, yeah.
So this, I'm just pulling out some stuff from a report that we pushed out last year, and we'll be happy to share it with everyone. So talking of women in AI and talking about AI in particular, since 1990, the percentage of AI papers co-authored by at least one woman globally has not changed since 1990, which is like 30 years. Consider this: Google, IBM, Microsoft. Google has only 11% women who have published a paper. Microsoft, it is 11.95, and IBM is 15.66. It is that less. The third point, except for University of Washington, none of the top 35 institutions known for AI research have anything more than 25% papers which are published by women. So it is that as low as that. So and the reason why I think gender, race, religion, all of this has to be kept out is because for AI to kind of really have that kind of impact, unless and until it is kind of really inclusive, I think AI can never have the kind of desired impact that it is expected to have. So that's it.
Great. Thank you so much. So I also know there are some initiatives that are happening to support getting more women in tech. Shout out to She Calls for Change. Yeah, so last time I was working with them, we trained 400 girls across the country how to code in partnership with Universal Communication Service Access Fund. So you have your 400 girls who potentially might become engineers, deciding on which track of the career they choose. I don't know, Alia might become an engineer, but if she wants to become a doctor, she'll so disappoint me. Yeah, so again, but I'll try my level best. Another thing, there's some other initiatives like Apps and Girls, Lail Girls. I know Lobotech Labs, they're doing it intentional also for young girls. So there's some initiative here and there, and they're trying to do their level best. But the key word is what John said, intention. We need to be intentional about it. And because if you're intentional, you're going to put your key performance indicators, you're going to set standard on how you want to do it, you're going to form policies and strategies around it, and it goes beyond signing MOUs and having conversation. Then it becomes something more realistic.